Joust podcast, and I have one thing I can promise to you. We are going to be fighting on this episode. We're going to be talking.
Woohoo!
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be talking about three films. We'll try not to dwell too long on any one of them, but just in terms of introductions, so you know who you're listening to. I am Jason Evans. I am joined by Josh Sewell and Jesse Nussman. Josh, identify yourself to the massive audience we have out there.
I think you just did, right? My name's Josh Sewell, and I'm a film critic in the we'll say metro Atlanta area. Whereas these guys are like actual Atlanta. I'm out here with the cows and making the long drive into screenings. But yeah, I'm out here representing the sticks.
There you go. And Jesse Nussman. Jesse, how you doing today?
I'm good. I want to clarify that you may refer to me as Jesse or by my predator name, which is. So you know,
actually really good, man.
Oh, is it? I was thinking I was sounding like a cat, like trying to get a hairball out, but
that's what I was gonna say. I was like,
that...
Jesse's eating breakfast while we're recording, and I think he got some toast stuck in his throat or something.
Trying to like cough up that little bit of a waffle from the Waffle House earlier. That's what I was trying to do.
In case you can't guess, the first film we'll be talking about, the film we'll probably be fighting about the most, is Predator Badlands. This is a movie by Dan Trachtenberg, who has been sort of given free rein to take over the Predator franchise. He did a film called Prey on Hulu a few years ago that was loved by critics. It came out like right in the middle of the pandemic or something like that, and I think no one else saw it other than mostly critics, but they all adored it.
I know plenty of people who have seen it. I mean, I don't know that everyone like rushed to watch it like the weekend it dropped on Hulu,
right,
but I think once people heard there was like, oh, there's a new Predator movie on Hulu, like people eventually watched it.
Yeah, not to jump the gun too much, but I think this weekend's numbers prove that people eventually watched Prey, and they liked what they saw. So.
Yeah. I always thought one of the clever things about that was that they didn't put the word predator in the title at all. It was sort of like, no, you got to find this, and once you do, you'll be given a treat. He also did an animated Predator series called Killer of Killers, and now he has a full-fledged theatrical release in Predator Badlands. Just full disclosure, we're recording this on Sunday. This is going to be a full spoiler episode. I happen to know that all three of us have seen this film. I happen to know that Josh and I both adored it. We sat next to each other at the screening earlier this week, and the lights came up, and we were both like, that was really good. But I think maybe you're in a different boat. So I will give you the floor first. Tell us what you thought of this movie.
I was just really disappointed that at no point in the movie the Predator drove to Nebraska and started murdering people with Sissy Spacek. I thought that was a real missed opportunity there. No. I liked it. I went in with like some I think hearing you guys excited about it, but still having some apprehension of like, I don't know, am I gonna like really like care about like the Predator's feelings? And like the mythology of the Predator universe is not something that's like I think I don't have the same relationship to this franchise as you guys do. Of like, I was much more of like a Terminator and an Alien obsessive as a teenager, but I had a fun time. I think I do not love this movie in the same way you guys do, and I think some of my apprehension that we can get into is a bit of stuff that I feel like this movie just sort of like has to do in order for it to be like a blockbuster released by the Walt Disney Corporation. But I think it's a fun idea. And for the most part, like I would say if anyone's interested in seeing it, like they should check it out. Like it's a fun kind of like under 2 hour, like pulpy sci-fi action movie that I think has some elements in it that sort of annoyed me, but I think those are more elements of like the requirements of a big modern day blockbuster. I don't know. Am I being too coy? Do I need to be more specific?
No, it's fine. We can get to it in a minute. You're talking about what you like. Josh and I will talk about what we like. I will start first of all, Josh, and then I'll let you get in. I love Elle Fanning in this film. I agree with you that the Predator universe and the how do predators get along with each other and do they have families and all the other kind of stuff. I was very lukewarm on that. I don't think I need that. I'm not sure the explanations that we get, I'm not sure they really work all that well. But And it should also be noted that we get we get some nice subtitles. Otherwise, the all we would hear are clicks and grunts and stuff like that from the Predators, which is fine. I mean, we're not that's what they've always done in every movie, but it's a little bit hard to connect with someone when, as you say, all they can do is go click, 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 at you. It's not that it's not that compelling. So what we need is someone that we can connect with, someone that we care about, someone that we can relate to, someone with, dare I say, some humanity in a film that has exactly zero humans. And that's what we get from Elle Fanning, who is, in my opinion, unbelievably good in this movie. She is super
Mhm.
funny. She plays both twin she plays sort of twin robots, twin synthetics, one of whom is super menacing and the other of whom is super charming, and she has to ping pong between those two different roles. I think she's almost immediately, she's obviously terribly charismatic. This is someone who can carry entire TV series. If you have not seen the TV series The Great on Hulu, The Great, in my opinion, is one of the more enjoyable TV series that I've seen the past several years. She's the lead in that alongside Nicholas Hoult, and is just so much fun. There's a reason she got multiple Emmy nominations for it. And I think this movie somewhat announces her as a movie star as well.
Mhm.
Anyway, the bottom line for me about this film is that Elle Fanning has to act alongside like no other human beings, and she just exudes all the charisma, everything that you would want from a movie star. And the reason this film is really successful is because of her. And I think she's on her way now. She has been a big TV star, and now I think she's on her way to being a big movie star. She has all the qualities that you want from someone to carry a film.
So yeah, for those who are maybe jumping into the franchise here, or avoiding trailers or whatever, I think one of the other reasons this film works is because it deviates from the formula that we've seen for X number of entries we've seen so far. That as someone who came to the franchise late, like Prey was the movie that made me catch up with the original Arnold movie. So I'd never seen any previously. So in catching up with that, you see how quickly the formula kind of gets repetitive really fast, which is alien comes to Earth to hunt, humans that are cocky and think they're the top of the food chain. They quickly learn that they're not. Violence and gore ensues for 90 minutes, and so you can only do that so many times before you kind of run out of ways to keep it lively. So I think that they did something really interesting with Badlands, which is let's throw this young, inexperienced Predator or Yautja or whatever they're called. Let's throw them in the middle of a Star Wars movie, and that really opens up the world. Maybe this is where some of Jesse's issues come from, which is this is a Disney movie, just like a Star Wars movie is a Disney movie, so it feels like they're having to deal with the formula. I didn't mind that as much. To me, this was a better Star Wars uh, entry than most of the recent Star Wars, obviously, from what I've heard, Andor excluded. But a lot of these, middling TV shows that are just trying to cash in on nostalgia, Predator takes what I think people want in those kind of stories, which is this is a huge universe. Instead of focusing on one tiny little planet over and over and over again, let's open up this world and see what we can do with it. And so that's what this film does. Our main protagonist is Dak, I think his name is, and yeah. And so he's, in order to be accepted as a part of his clan, they don't really call themselves family because predators are individual species, right? So he has to prove himself by going to this, outlier planet and killing the biggest, baddest creature he can and bring it back to prove that he's worthy of this. And so lands on this planet, immediately crashes, immediately sees how out of his depth he is, and that's when he stumbles upon this android, played by Elle Fanning's character, who is really bubbly and chipper and outgoing, and it's not what I expected from this movie at all. And so maybe that's part of the reason I liked it, just this kind of breath of fresh air in a franchise that does get a little self-serious, and and I loved the little bits of humor, like the Predator say, they're individuals, they don't need help, and they aren't part of a team. And so when he realizes she's not actually alive, she's just like a robot, his justification is, oh, well, you're a tool, like a hammer or something. So I'm not like disobeying my
My culture, yeah.
my culture, my centuries of tradition by getting help. You're just, you're a tool. And so I think that that instills enough kind of creativity into the proceedings, along with the really cool creature designs, the really cool spaceship designs, that yeah, I think it just makes it new and creative while also giving fans of the franchise what they want, which is a ton of violence and a ton of gore. Don't let the PG-13 fool you on this one. The only reason this is PG-13 is because it's alien blood, so it can be like
Yeah.
green and blue, right? It
Yeah.
is
Right.
still just as gory, just as gross as all the other Predator movies.
Um, you guys are smoking crack that you think Elle Fanning is like the best part of this movie.
Dude.
I have to say. Let me first say what I do like about this movie, which I think I again I mostly like it. I think the apprehension I had, I was sort of won over by like, oh, I am kind of down to see a whole movie that is from the Predator's perspective and the like whatever combination of tools of like practical actor in a suit and like mocap face and like the eyes and stuff like I was there. I was like I'm following little Pred because I can't remember his name, so I'll call him Little Pred.
Deck. It's Deck.
It well, Deck is a stupid name. That's like the back of your house that you hang out with. Let's call him Little Preds. And yeah, enjoyed seeing him go on his hunt. I kind of love the idea of like the more satisfying version of this movie to me is kind of like Predator Samurai Jack, where it's basically like him out in the jungle. And I love the part of this movie that is like a little bit critical of the like predator cultural ethos of like, the spoiler, but sort of not spoiler because it's the opening of this movie. Like this little predator is like cast out of his tribe because he is the like runt of the litter, and him being like, well, I'm going to go to this dangerous alien planet and I'm going to catch like the biggest monster on the planet. And if this whole movie was just like this cool alien planet with all of these like imaginative creatures and weird things like blades of grass that are actually like machete blades and will like cut you if you try and run through them. Like that stuff's all awesome and I think perfectly feeds into the like 12-year-old boy aesthetic of Predator that is just like the core of like what makes it good. Um the Elle Fanning character, I mean, I will preface it this way. I think this is a sort of spoiler, but sort of not spoiler if you've seen any of the previews. This is an alien tie-in movie in I
Right.
thought a creative way. And I was a little bit like worried about that as someone who loves the alien movies but does not like the Alien versus Predator movies. But I thought this was a cool way to like Dan Trachtenberg thinking like, all right, these series have already crossed over. So like, what if we do a flip where like the bad guys are the Weyland-Yutani Corporation and they're trying
Wait, the
to.
bad guys, hold on. The bad guys are always the Weyland
I
Yutani
mean, they're all,
Corporation.
but of like in a Predator movie of like, okay, let's make the Predator like the person you identify with, and then like they're being hunted by not just other predators and these alien monsters, but then like the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is like, oh, we want to get that thing and get its like weapons and stuff like that. That's an awesome idea. And I even kind of like, I'm fine if we want to throw in like an android from, the Wayland stuff, but it was just, I think it's how chipper the Elle Fanning character is. It really just felt like we can't do a movie on this budget without it having to be a, I'm, I'm not complaining in like there's some of the dumb people online that are like, well, this movie's not rated R because it's, bloodless and blah, 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 blah. But like the idea that this needs to be a kind of like big PG-13 blockbuster that can't just be like, it's a predator out there like battling cool aliens. It has to be like, well, we have to have the like super upbeat comedic character that has to constantly be commenting on everything, and like whenever a monster appears, be like, "Oh no, that's a big one," or saying something like that, and that
Buddy
she has
comedy.
to.
The film is a buddy like almost a buddy
Mhm.
cop comedy.
Yeah.
Ugh, ugh.
No,
I would.
dude, you're
I
totally
just
No,
want
wrong.
the
no,
like lone samurai version of this. It just sort of
no.
felt like
No,
every big
This is
blockbuster we do these days has to have some sort of like super comedic
timeout.
character to like comment on the
You're
action
someone
in
hit
the
the mute on
movie.
Jesse. Someone
yeah,
hit the mute on Jesse. You
you're
could go,
committing
Josh, take him, and then I'll take him. Go.
you're committing the cardinal sin of criticism, which is I didn't like this movie because it's not what I wanted it to be.
That's not what I'm
And
saying.
not
I'm saying it's annoying when
you're
I
like,
have a character that is just sort of like pointing out the obviousness of everything around me, and then at the end has to like teach me a lesson about friendship. Like that's kind of what
okay,
I was
well,
getting at, is like we
there's a
can't
difference
because
between
this is a Disney movie now. We need to make sure we have like a cute cuddly character that can kind of like do like basically like Ryan Reynolds-esque jokes
well,
the
there's a
entire
difference
time, and then
between
teach us that it's all about like family and friendship at the end.
well, there's a difference between like not liking that a character is there and saying that the actress portraying that character does a bad job in that role. Like you may not like that the character's there, but I think that Elle Fanning does a fantastic job of embodying the character she was hired to portray.
Sure, I just think
And
that
I
was a
would
dumb
argue
character to write into your movie of like you do
no.
like that felt like such a studio note to me of such a like we now have to make this like as homogenized as all of our other
Hard
blockbusters.
disagree.
No, you're so wrong about this. This movie would be unbelievably boring, difficult to
Mhm.
connect with if we did not have this Elle Fanning character to humanize things a little bit and to give us someone to root for and care about. I don't care about a runt predator. There's
But
nothing about
shouldn't that be
predators.
the challenge of the movie is like make you as an audience connect with this alien being and watch
I
like
think
that's the actual achievement if you need to
I
do
think the
that as
We,
the
opposed
movie
to like
makes it
this
a
seems like
wait,
just
wait.
like a cop out.
We need someone to bring. The runt predator can't inherently be sympathetic. He can't inherently be humanized. He can't inherently care about the things that we care about. We need someone to bring him along that path. And that is what Elle Fanning's character does. By the end of the movie, again, no spoilers, by the end of the movie, they have formed their own little clan with the baby Callus and Elle Fanning's robot and the Predator guy, and it's completely separate, completely different from
I'm
anything
fine
else.
with that. I just did not need Elle Fanning the whole time like
Oh, you're
making everything
wrong.
into
You're
a
just
joke and
wrong.
talking about like how it's all about family. Like we could
well, I mean,
have a
I think
synthetic
it's
in there but make it like, you know, a bit more C3PO like or like, you know,
she's
the
absolutely a
oh
C3PO.
my gosh, she's so much more insufferable than C3PO.
That's
I
a
needed
bold
No.
statement.
yes.
That is a bold statement. But anyways,
Also,
Man, no
what
way.
is with her having this like upbeat chipper attitude when like I feel like the thing like and you can pull comedy out of this. The thing about the synthetics in the alien universe is they're sort of like deadpan and don't understand emotion.
Well, no, but the point is that there are two of them, and one of them is cold and calculating and borderline evil, and the other one is sort of the exact opposite because they have different tasks that they've been programmed to do. She needs to be a little bit more sympathetic and funny and such like that for what her kind of role is.
and I think that I
Josh,
think
the last word. Go ahead.
I think the movie makes it abundantly clear that if we got the movie that Jesse was saying would have been the better movie, it would have been a shorter movie. The runt predator dies immediately without her. He almost gets taken out by tree roots. Like he needs somebody who understands the terrain better than he does because that's part of his growth journey is that
Why can't it be the monkey?
he's got unearned cockiness, right? He thinks he's great and almost gets taken out by hand grenade grubs, and so he needs somebody to point out all the traps, and a monkey that doesn't talk can't really do that.
I don't know. I think you guys are being you're not giving the audience the credit of being able to understand the power of visual storytelling. And I'm saying that this movie thinks its audience is a bunch of
in the
silly folk who
legendarily
can't.
subtle Predator franchise.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Wait, so we've fought enough about that one. Time to fight about another one. Now, I'm going to fully admit I have not seen this movie. It is called Die My Love, stars Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. And the two of you have seen it. It's going to be on the two of you to figure out, to either convince me this is worth watching or hard pass. Uh, Jesse,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to let you go first because I think you love this film. Tell me why Die My Love is worth watching. And then once you guys have hashed it out, I'll give my verdict.
Okay. So this is the new movie from Lynn Ramsey, the eccentric Scottish filmmaker who's done stuff like We Need to Talk About Kevin and what was that Joaquin Phoenix one from a few years ago that like you were never really here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ratcatcher, Morven Collar. She's a really interesting, unique, visceral filmmaker who like puts you inside the headspace of the characters that are in her film. And this story is it's a little bit of kind of it's based off of a novel of the same name, but it's kind of also like as my girlfriend pointed out, like a little bit of the Yellow Wallpaper. If you've ever read that short story, basically Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Lawrence playing a young couple. They move out to the boondocks of Wyoming and they have a child, and Jennifer Lawrence's character begins having what some may call postpartum depression, what some may call boredom, but either way, it is a transformative coming undone, and soon it it is her as this kind of like wildcat being trapped in this like domestic boredom and trying to break out of that boredom in really crazy ways. This is a movie that is, if you've ever seen a Lynn Ramsey movie, you know they're very chaotic, very visceral, at times upsetting. But this one, I think, also has like a dark comedic energy to it, mostly because of Pattinson and Lawrence, who I think are willing to sort of lean into an inherent absurdity in the material and willing to find a sense of like comic mania that, you know, we talked about Yorgos Lanthimos last week, I think is sort of in keeping with kind of the dark comedy of sort of his movies. Or I thought it was interesting, British critic Mark Kermode kind of explained the performance style of this movie to Punch Drunk Love, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, in terms of like every character just feels like they're about to just like explode and like throw something across the room and like scream at the top of their lungs at any moment. And I I love a movie that is basically like grabbing me by the throat and is like, you need to like submit yourself to this director's style and vision. And I just kind of had a hoot with how, even though this movie I think deals with some dark, heavy subject matter, the lightness and fun that both Lawrence and Pattinson are willing to have. And for me, as the millennial on this podcast, there is a sort of perverse pleasure of like, it's Edward Cullen and Katniss Everdeen. What if they got married and then like just like were totally mismatched as a couple? Like I think it's almost been hilarious how Pattinson and Lawrence are even in sort of the promotional tour for this movie, kind of leaning into their opposite energies and playing this sort of odd couple on the promotional trail, which is, I think, a lot of what the comedy comes out of in the movie. Josh, I know you did not find this a hoot like I did. I'm willing to. I have my notebook. I'm willing to offer many examples of scenes that I think are very funny in this movie that I don't feel are spoilers, but yeah, I'm looking to see it. I'm looking forward to like hopefully seeing it again. I don't know that I would put this like on the top level of like movies I've seen this year, but I I was expecting it to be like a really messy slog, and I was surprised at kind of like how often it sort of dips into absurd, crazy comedy. And I'm all here for a movie that is just sort of like it's it's all about expression. And this is a movie I think you can't rationalize, but you feel it every moment of it. So Die My Love, it's great.
So, for our audio listeners, not just our viewers, the look on Jason's face shows that Jesse has made a very convincing argument, and Jason is swayed. So, I don't even need to present my
Or not.
case, right? No. So, to start our fighting with, you know, trying to kind of get on the same page a little bit. I will agree with a lot of what Jesse said. This is a film that is more of an experience than a narrative bit of storytelling. Those of you, to drop the Katniss Twilight thing, I wish I could be in the theater with the people buying tickets thinking they're going to get some sort of movie like that when this is basically just the two weirdest theater kids you knew in high school doing acting exercises for 2 hours.
Yes,
Wait, Josh,
exactly.
Which
Josh, do you know about the cinema score for this?
I didn't know.
Oh, are we going to do the dumb fucking cinema score conversation
No,
again?
hold on. So Josh is right. People who think Jennifer Lawrence, Hunger Games, Robert Pattinson, Twilight, oh boy. The cinema score for this film is a D+. That is what I don't think
Sounds
I've ever
about right.
seen. That is such a disaster. That is like bad horror movie cinema score. That
Now
is
I will
terrible.
You know what
I
else
will
got a D
say
plus
that
cinema score? Hereditary.
yeah. So I will say that Cinema Score tends to judge whether a viewer's expectations were met rather than what they actually thought of the film. So I could see that being super low based on what viewers thought they were going to get versus what they actually got. So I will say that in the film's favor is that that's not really the film's fault. However, um, your experience with this film depends on what you're looking for in a movie. If you are looking for weird out there, weird for weird's sake, like I said, theater kids doing acting exercises, which Jesse's really excited for, yeah, you're going to be in heaven. I'm not dogging the performances at all. Jennifer Lawrence is incredible in this film. Robert Pattinson, fantastic in this film. He doesn't get as much to do as her, but that's kind of by design. Um, Nick Nolte, phenomenal in this film for two scenes. Sissy Spacek, probably would have been great if the movie gave her anything to do.
Oh, I think she's great. She gets.
Lakeith Stanfield is there for some reason, to collect a paycheck, maybe.
More a character
and
that's more of a metaphor idea than it is like an actual person.
and without getting into spoilers, like I would argue a very sort of racially problematic, bad, stereotypical role as well, which is the mysterious big black man coming in to wreck the pretty white couple's marriage. Like, I don't know if that is subtext or
I guess
text.
that would require you to like think the Robert Pattinson character is a good husband, which like
Oh
by
no,
that point
I
it's
never
like...
said good husband, but so yeah, if you want to see great actors doing weird, crazy things, like I totally respect both Lawrence and Pattinson for being like, you know what? I've made more money than I'm ever going to spend doing franchise movies. So now I'm just going to do cool, weird stuff. Respect. That doesn't mean that the viewer has to like the experience as much as they did making it. It's not, you know, it's not the film's fault that this is the latest in like 3, 4, 5 other movies that talk about how tough it is for a mother to go at postpartum issues alone because of their shitty husbands. I know I kind of previewed this a little bit last week. It's not the movie. That's not the story the movie's trying to tell. I'm not going to say like I didn't like it because it's not what I wanted it to be. But I feel like there's only so many times you can tell that story without getting diminishing returns. Because we've got If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. We had Night Bitch a couple of years ago. You have some semblance of this in a different way in One Battle After Another, which is just the mother who can't quite align being a mother, being a wife, being an individual, which I'm not discounting at all. That's a very real, very crucial issue. But there are only so many ways you can portray that in a movie. And I feel like with Die My Love, we're getting diminishing returns. You know, it's, you
I
know,
would argue
it's,
If I Had Legs I Kick You is not necessarily that. Like that's more of a movie that's about like you try and try and try as a parent, and like it just kind of seems like the world is like up against you, and like you want to
All right,
like
wait.
strangle
We're
your
not
kid at one
debating Die
moment.
My Love.
I, no, well, I'm just
We're not
saying like
debating
that
If I
that
Had Legs. Yeah.
that and then like this is kind of similar to Night Bitch in that like kind of what if Night Bitch was good, and like what if Night Bitch was like willing to go to the like extreme places that it thinks it wants to go to. You know, this is a movie in which like Jennifer Lawrence like walks around like she's a jungle cat. Like it's very over the top. And I don't know. I don't know how you like. I think there's a way that movie is about. It is about postpartum, but like it also could just be about depression and sort of feeling sort of uncomfortable in your own skin and feeling like there's something wrong with you, but like everyone around you is like, can you just kind of like move on, or like can you just sort of like get your shit together, and the frustration of almost just wanting to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna check out. Like there's in my opinion a like hilarious scene in this movie where like Robert Pattinson like comes downstairs, and Jennifer Lawrence that he has somehow decided that they need to get a dog, which is like the dumbest idea in the world, for them to bring a puppy into this situation. And so there's this like little puppy just like running around and it's yapping all the time. And you have Jennifer Lawrence like chugging a Miller High Life while at the breakfast table, like barely clothed, and is just like barking back at the dog as it's barking at her. And Pattinson like comes downstairs, is like, there's piss, there's shit everywhere. Like, can you take care of this dog? And she's just like giving him the sassiest comebacks because she also knows that he's basically sleeping around with her, and is like, you need to keep better care over the women you bring into this house, kind of pointing at the dog. And then Pattinson like realizes she doesn't have pants on. Is like, can you put on some pants? And she's just sort of like rubbing his nose in like the filth of like what they're living in, and being like, you need to step up. Like I'm taking care of this baby. You want the house clean? You want the dog to stop peeing on the floor? Why don't you do something? And that's like the whole attitude Jennifer Lawrence has in this movie, of just sort of like, I'm not going to engage with any of you people. I'm just going to go like full wild woman. And yeah, I'm going to take care of the baby, but that's about all I'm going to do around this house. And I
see,
had a hoot
it's a
watching
laugh
that.
riot. It's a
Yeah,
laugh riot.
it's so funny.
Hilarious.
Right. So my judgment is I see the value that Jesse is espousing from this film, but I don't particularly want to see that story. I often say I'm a slave to story. Like I want a really compelling story that's going to take me someplace and teach me some things. And it doesn't sound like this film has that. I mean, like
Maybe
I didn't
if
like
it
the,
had Elle Fanning in it and she was like giving you a message at the end of the movie,
Don't
then you
do
probably would have
that.
liked that.
That's
Jennifer
petty.
Lawrence is
Don't do that.
Elle
This
Fanning
is
and
a
Jennifer Lawrence are
podcast.
both
We can be petty. We've been bitching for months and months about how we don't get petty enough on this show. We're too respectful to each other.
Jesse, you and I just don't have the same kind of taste in films. I think that's pretty abundantly clear. So,
Yeah,
all right.
I love that this is movies as like pure expression, and it is chaotic, it's messy, it's absurd, it's loud, but I would rather watch it than like something made by a committee.
Yeah, and
I
it's
hear you. The aspects of it that sound a little bit surreal or metaphysical, that's the thing that really like that I'm like, you got to be careful about that kind of stuff. Josh,
what.
last word, then we'll get to our
Yeah,
final
I was
film.
gonna say it's, you can take this as a recommendation or a warning depending on your preference. It's one of those movies that I absolutely respect, but to say that I enjoyed it would be, and this is not a movie I would argue you're not supposed to enjoy. Jesse, I think, is arguing it's a movie you're absolutely supposed to enjoy, and I think that's where you can make your decision on, does this sound like a great 2 hour sit to you, or does this sound like, you'd rather be, watching, as Jesse said, Elle Fanning making wisecracks in a jungle. I'll let you decide which kind of experience you'd rather have.
Hey, Jesse, can I ask, did you like Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story a couple years ago?
Yeah. What?
Okay,
Of
see, I
course.
hated that film. I was like,
What? You're crazy. You hated Marriage Story?
yeah, I'm like, I'm spending 2 hours with two people who are just hate each other and are destroying their marriage. I didn't enjoy that process. This sounds to me like it's not entirely different, so
This
I'm not
movie is
surprised.
kind of like What If Mother, but Darren Aronofsky actually thought he was making a comedy.
Her Marriage Story is a fever dream.
Yeah, there you go. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. So for our last film, Jesse has not seen this, but Josh and I both have. The film is called Nuremberg. I'm sure it'll surprise you. It is about the Nuremberg war crimes tribunals at the end of World War II. To put a finer point on it, it is actually about a army psychiatrist, played by Rami Malek, who the army assigns to talk to and assess the mental state of the various members of the Nazi high command, including the Reichsmarshal Hermann Goering, played by Russell Crowe. And over the course of this film, Rami Malek's character, the psychiatrist, becomes sort of more and more entranced by the charisma of Hermann Goering and some of the other Nazis. The film also includes Michael Shannon playing the very prominent U.S. Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson, who invented functionally the notion of a worldwide court to hold people accountable for crimes committed against humanity, crimes committed against other nations, which was a brand new concept. Josh, why don't you go first? Tell us, did you enjoy this film? Certainly an all-star cast, no question about that.
Yeah. So I was going to say, it's probably good that we save this one for last because I don't think we're going to argue about this one too much. This is, we talked off mic. I think this is what you call solid dad entertainment. Like everybody has their World War II obsessed relative, and this is his cup of tea. Absolutely. Nothing in this movie is going to surprise or shock you. I would argue it's about a half hour too long at 2.5 hours. A lot of sort of repetitive scenes that we kind of got the point about 20 minutes ago. Um, if you're gonna see it, the things that really stood out to me, Russell Crowe is fantastic in this film. He's bringing a lot of Hannibal Lecter energy to Goering. He's bringing a lot of. I had another example that just totally escaped my head, but it's really that the kind of like the chess match between the evil mastermind and the protege. We can quibble about how historically accurate that is. I think the movie is instilling a little bit more genius into Goering than I think some historians would say actually had for dramatic effect. That's fine. This is not. I don't think this is Schindler's List. They're not going for accuracy here as much as emotional truth a little bit. Um, Michael Shannon is fantastic, kind of playing against type. He's been pigeonholed as like loose cannons, unhinged psychos, that kind of thing. And this is a really sort of muted, uh, not really subtle performance, but kind of understated for him, a little quippy. But he's very much the temperamental, like neutral of this film, and it's really great to see him underplay some things a lot. What I think is one of the big sins of the movie is, as with most stuff he's in, I think Rami Malek is profoundly miscast in this film.
Well, he's
Um,
Can-
playing a vampire, right?
Wait, I'm going to jump in here and say that this is a good film. It's fine. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel the length as much as you did, Josh.
okay.
I think it's certainly worth seeing. I think especially people maybe who don't know a lot about how important Nuremberg was and what happened there. It's a great way to educate them about that.
Yeah.
Rami Malek is an abomination in this film. He's so bad. First of all, he's the same in every movie he's in. He's always talking like he has marbles in his mouth, so you can barely understand half of what he's saying. I agree he's miscast. I don't believe him as a even remotely competent psychiatrist. There's nothing about the way the character is written or the way it's performed that makes you think that he has any agency or any knowledge sort of what he's doing. He's just kind of flittering along. And it seems the least professional and least competent person in the entire movie. We have to spend more time with him than anyone else, and I find him the least likable character.
I was
He's in
going
a
to say
movie with
it's
Nazis. The Nazis are
yes.
more interesting than he is.
That's what I was going to say. Is like it is not great when your protagonist is creepier than the Nazi.
Exactly. He's and
Kind of
I
like what
love
was that
Men's
Denzel movie he was in where it's
Yes,
like the
I
whole
had
time
the
you were like,
exact same thought.
isn't Rami gonna wind up being the serial killer? And then when you're like,
Yes.
oh wait, Denzel, I mean, spoiler for a shitty movie that came out like 5 years ago, but when like Denzel is revealed to be the serial killer, and you're like, what? So Rami Malek is just a bad actor?
Yeah, he's. I'm trying to think. I never saw that. He was in some TV, Mr. Robot. Supposedly,
He's great in
people
that
love-
show. That at least like plays to his strengths as a performer, I will say.
Yeah, people liked him in that. I mean, he was the fact that he was given awards for Bohemian Rhapsody is still, I think, one of the greatest crimes.
I still think that movie only won awards because it was such a disastrous shoot and that it like made all that money. I have to believe that was like the only reason that it got showered with awards.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He's bad in everything, including the film that he got Best Actor for. So he's really bad in this film. Yeah.
And the thing I kept thinking, and it's probably not a good thing when your film is making your viewer think this. I kept thinking how much better the movie might have been if Rami Malek and a great actor named Leo Woodall switched parts.
Yes.
So Leo Woodall plays a soldier who's tasked translator to translate for Goering before they realize, oh, he's playing him. He can actually speak English. And he doesn't really get a lot to do until this pivotal scene towards the end of the film when he just unleashes and you're like, where was this guy?
He gives you 5 minutes and you're just like, why haven't we spent the whole movie with this guy? He's amazing.
He's a way more interesting character. And I think the issues I have with Malek's character go away if he's played by another actor, and you had a better actor right there.
I mean,
you get Malek and you give him a glorified cameo, and so you still get to put him on the poster. But I feel like the emphasis was misplaced on what to give which actor, which kind of shoots the film in the foot.
Yeah, and again, it's a real pity because I think this is otherwise a pretty darn good film with some interesting things to teach the audience. And I know that it got kind of a limited release. It's not like a big, there's not a huge advertising budget or anything like that, but it did fairly well over the weekend at the box office, considering all the limitations on it. So. Mm-hmm. I hope folks get a chance to see it. By the way, we should also mention Richard E. Grant is in this film, the British actor mm-hmm. who. Frankly, I'm trying to think. I've never seen him not be great in a movie. He has a tiny, tiny role in this film, but it's a pivotal role, again, late in the film. Richard Grant is just wonderful in everything he's in.
You get to see John Slattery be John Slattery at his slatteriest.
Yes, hey Jesse, get this. John Slattery plays a wisecracking kind of general who's sort of disgusted with everyone else who's not acting properly in this film. It's a huge stretch for John Slattery.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. Does he have a globe in his office that can secretly like work as a martini bar?
I'm sure he does. I didn't notice, but yeah, exactly. In any event, all right, so that's going to wrap it up here on the latest edition of Movie Joust. We told you about Die My Love. We told you about Predator Badlands, and we told you about Nuremberg. It was a very, very busy week for movies. And guys, next week, oh my goodness, I have screenings that I will be attending on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Same.
And you guys are they're like different movies on each day of the week. You have to pick which one you're going to go see.
I have no idea. Like what are we talking about next week? Are we talking about Running Man? Running Man coming out?
Running Man for sure. Running Man for sure. The Now You See Me Now You Don't is out. Wow. I saw that like 3 weeks ago.
I forgot that they had already screened that. I didn't make it. But
the magic trick is that you completely forgot about the movie you saw.
You've also got it's definitely award season because you've also got screenings for Jay Kelly. You've got screenings for the new Knives Out movie.
Yeah, I think we might as well pair Knives Out with Wicked for the Thanksgiving season because I think those are kind of the Thanksgiving movies, and I think the other movies that are screening for us are December releases for us to do episodes on. So why don't next week we do Running Man, and we can talk about Jay Kelly and George Clooney and the movies and all that stuff.
That
Sounds good
works.
to me.
All right. Until then, we'll see you at the movies.